Hi guys, so time for another update. Back from holidays, back in work, back to normality and all that. So, time to adjust the timers in the terrarium and give you a bit of an update. So basically, Mr. Jinx is currently over on his cool side, where he has been for most of May, really, as the weather in the terrarium has warmed up. And he loves this cool hide here, this cave. So that's worked out really well and was really cheap to make. The rocks I just got from the wild here in North Wales. So limestone rock and the tunnel, the cave I made out of an old plastic bottle and moulded it with clay inside out, non-toxic clay, over the bottle to create that kind of cave-like thingy me bob, and then covered it with like rocks and soil and everything, so it cost virtually nothing bar the clay, which I bought from a the Range, a UK kind of DIY sort of shop. The clay, hang on, let's have a look now. Here we go. I tend to have a lot of crap lying around, but I know where everything is. Organised chaos. So there we go. Daz. Modelling clay. So that's the brand I've used. It's non-toxic. So when I googled non-toxic clay, this came up, and then if I look at the look, is there an ingredients list? No, but when I googled non-toxic, this was the one that came up. So let's have a look now. In English, presence of small removable parts which could be swallowed. Yeah, so, and that's basically what it is. So that is great to use to kind of like mold over plastic bottles or plant pots or stuff like that, to kind of make like caves and stuff for not just leopard geckos but other burrowing lizards as well. So yeah, great to have in like arid setups, because if the clay gets quite moist, it will kind of like bend a bit more. So yeah, so that with like soil and excavator clay sand can make lots of quirky hills and burrows and stuff. Okay. Okay, so digressed a bit there. So that's an update on the cave and how I made it. Okay. So as I've been away, things have grown. So this asparagus fern here will probably need a trim soon. That's really taken off. And about 3-4 weeks ago, I gave this whole tank a really good kind of watering. So the whole substrate has had a good watering. Before that, it was drying out for like a period of like months, and I was just spray misting a little bit over in the humid area right at the back there, to allow access for Mr. Jinx to have a drink and whatnot. And just give the plants like a little bit of a spray once every sort of fortnight, 3 weeks or something like that. Because they're arid plants and alpine plants mostly, they can go a long time without water. So, but yeah, so this is still growing, so that's all good. And then this mint, the spearmint, can just see if I just open the setup and we dive in. So this little leafy plant here, that's a spearmint, but you can see the stem there, and it's also grown out a bit here as well. And also today I've noticed that there is part of it growing here, so that is thriving. Okay. The ficus tree also needs a trim soon. That's certainly starting to take over the top. So yeah, and these are like little succulents, Hobolthia, aloe vera, lace aloe, which are pretty self-sufficient really. They don't need much maintenance at all really, just a little bit of a watering. But they can go months without water. Okay, so they're really easy to have in an arid setup. Then we've got the Carex grass here. So this grass just used as decoration for the cave. I kind of just stole from the main plant, which is at the back here. So it might look dead, but there is actually a little bit of green showing on one of the middle strains of grass. So yeah, that's all good. That's looking all good. So there we go. So that's an update on basically like the decor and whatnot, and Mr. Jinx's whereabouts. So got back from my holidays. So what is it? Today's Wednesday. Got back on Monday night late. So I went out to the pet store yesterday to buy some crickets and locusts, which are in the Berg Hotel. I do need to put some leafy greens in there for the locusts to feed on, and then allow a couple of days for them to gut load before putting some in to the terrarium. But in the meantime, just as a little snack, there are some isopods. Actually, we'll have a little look. There are some isopods and mealworms in there to snack on. I do need to just add a bit of some fresh grass and leafy greens for the locusts. Hello. Yeah, I'm just filming a video. So now the lighting, so I need to adjust this a little bit. So currently the setting is sunrise. The halogen comes on first, followed by the two Jungle Dawn plant grow lights and the UVB come on after, about half an hour after. And then half an hour after that, the main plant grow light, the LED. I don't know why it flickers. I think it's the way I point my camera. But that plant grow light here, the main plant grow light, that comes on last. And then they go off in reverse in the evening. So that will go off first, then half an hour later, these will go off, and then half an hour after that, that will go off, okay? Approximately like that to mimic sunrise and sunset. However, I am going to change it slightly. So instead of the halogen coming on first and going off last, because that is the heat source, and also the Jungle Dawns give off a bit of heat. So what I'm going to do is, instead of the halogen coming on first, that will come on last. Okay, so first the sunrise will be the Jungle Dawns and the UVB, okay, followed by this plant grow light, and then followed by the halogen, okay, because we're approaching summer now, so temperatures are sort of in the high 20s, early 30s on the warm side, And the air temperature has also been around about 28 on the cooler side. Spot temperatures, this is where temperature readings can be a little bit kind of controversial in a way, because the air temperature and the ground or spot temperatures are very different. So the spot temperature of where that red dot is 25.6, which is kind of acceptable on the cooler side as a spot temperature. But the air temperature will be slightly above. So when we go by the care guides, and they sort of advise or recommend about 24 on the cooler side and up to about 30 on the warm side, in this terrarium it's quite different. But Mr. Jinx is still thermoregulating, sort of by moving over to the cooler side. So, but I have adjusted the temperature. So the setting on the thermostat is, I just need to, it's on 25 Celsius. So when that temperature inside the terrarium reaches 25, the halogen light will dim off. So you can see now that it's not even on. Well, it is connected to the thermostat, but it's not like glowing because the temperature is warm enough for it not to need to come on, if that makes sense. Okay. So that's one technique, one reason why I'm changing the lighting times, so that the halogen there's a bit of a delay with the heat lamp coming on. But argument's sake, these jungle dawns give off quite a bit of heat, and one of them is located just above the temperature sensor. Yeah, so that could explain why the reading of 28, 29 degrees on the cool side is so, because that is placed right, well, say 10 centimeters away from the jungle dawn. Okay, there is the mesh, obviously, which will deflect some of the heat, but yeah, so that could be the reason. If I look at my, so the spot temperatures again, so we were looking at about 25.6 in the burrow, 22.9, so it's cooler in the burrow. If we look at the thermometer sensors, as in like the probe sensors, so that must be that's a cool side, and that's the warmer side. But I have obviously opened the doors a little bit, so that gives a different reading again. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, but the way I look at it is that Mr. Jinx is looking very healthy. He's active. He's, you know, hunting. He's drinking. Everything's all fine health-wise. So I don't need to worry too much about the temperature maybe being slightly above the recommended guidelines, shall we say. And how do I use the recommended guidelines with this setup? It's going to be different, because when you have plants and rocks and everything like that kind of, they absorb heat and whatnot and deflect heat, so that will affect the temperature. So, you know, it's quite complicated really. Okay, so that's basically it really for today. So the only, yeah, so I was looking at the times. So this is weather in Nali. So this is like the town which is closest to their wild distribution in Pakistan, like the geckos. So this is where I get my data from. So we can see here the sun rises at 5:07 in the morning this time of year, and then sets at 7:08. Okay, so simply what I'm going to do, these timers. So we've got program. So 5, that'll do. 7:15 in the evening. Oh, so I need to change that. So hold on one sec. So I need to change that to 6. And then change the minute. That will do, right? And then comes on at 6 in the morning. Okay. Okay, so that's the halogen. So then the second one, the main LED, comes on half an hour before that one. So if that comes on at 6 in the morning, and this one needs to come on at 5:30. Oh. And then go off in the evening. So if that goes off at, what time was it? So that comes off half an hour after, so it needs to go off at 6:36. We'll put it as. Okay, and then finally the jungle dawns and the UVB, they come off first. They come on first, okay? And then so I'll adjust that to 5 in the morning. And then goes off at just after 7 at night. There we go. So that is now all set. So there we go.